Welcome to the Sports Watchdog Radio Show, hosted by Mason Kern. He keeps his nose to the ground to report on what's trending in professional and college sports, to inform, enlighten, and entertain. And now it's
the Sports Watchdog.
The Sports Watchdog, Mason Kern.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Sports Watchdog Radio Show here on KDUS AM 1060 Phoenix. I'm your host Mason Kern, as always joining you every Sunday, and we got another great episode on tap for you guys this week, and that's mainly because the NBA is back. Now, I know it's been a long off-season of free agency talk, preseason, summer workouts, which players are working out with who, injury updates, trades, all this kind of stuff. But now all the speculation is over. Players are with their respective teams. The league looks completely different. And you know it's my favorite time of year because opening night this past Tuesday, my Lakers are playing. Granted, not the best result, but we'll get into that a little later. It's the best time of the year. October basketball is back. We're going to give you a whole season's worth of coverage from the NBA all the way down to NCAA and even a little high school talk maybe a little bit sometimes. But the basketball is back. Your boy Mason Kern is back, and we're going to get a great episode in today, so let's jump right in. Now, before I get into any of the hard-hitting topics that you guys are obviously itching to get at right now, I want to spend some time with our interview portion of the show. We're talking to two NBA players today, and I'm gonna keep it a little bit of a surprise for you. You know, I'm not gonna spoil the secrets right on top here, but it's gonna be a really exciting portion of the show today because we got some great guests lined up for you. A couple of real impact players in their day, and you guys aren't going to want to miss out, so stay tuned. We're going to go to commercial break real quick, and then we'll come right back. You're not going to want to miss who's on the other line.
Do you owe the IRS $10,000 or more in back taxes? Are you being audited or investigated? Has the IRS sent you a letter demanding payment? You may not owe what they claim. Make this free call to the tax doctor now. Let them negotiate with the IRS on your behalf. Call 800-605-4650. 800-605-4650. That's 800-605-4650.
Hey there, and welcome back. You're listening to the Sports Watchdog Radio Show on NBC Sports Radio AM 1060. I'm your host, Mason Kern, and joining us now is Stephen Howard, former NBA small forward and current ESPN analyst. Stephen went undrafted in the 1992 NBA draft, but through perseverance and hard work, made it onto his first NBA roster with the Utah Jazz. He would also play for the San Antonio Spurs and the Seattle Supersonics before his retirement. Stephen now works as a college basketball and NBA analyst for ESPN, using his high basketball IQ to broadcast the sport he loves to the world. So with that, Stephen is here with us today. Hey, Stephen, welcome to the Sports Watchdog Radio Show. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you so much again for coming on, like I said, Stephen. So first off, as we're kind of in the midst of the NBA playoffs right now, what's kind of the biggest mental struggle for these players during this time?
Really, it's the length of a series, because if you look at the NBA, even the worst NBA team could beat the best NBA team on any given night. But the ability to win 4 out of 7, that's not going to happen. That's where the talent, the skill, the coaching staff, everything goes into play. And normally the better team wins. After that, I would really say the intensity of every play. I can remember when my 96-97 Utah Jazz team went to the finals. In the Western Conference Finals, every play was so important. And in the NBA Finals, it's like every single play was important. You don't have throwaway plays. And so every round that you go up, the intensity just grows and grows and grows.
Yeah, I'm sure. And then kind of experiencing it yourself, like you say, with the Jazz in those playoffs, what kind of strain mentally and physically as well does it have on these players? They kind of say, hey, I can't make one mistake here, otherwise either I'm going to get benched or my teammates are going to be mad at me, because, like you say, every play is so important. How much of a strain is that on the players, or do these players, do you think, kind of live for the moment?
Well, that's the difference between your championship caliber teams and players and then your great players and then your just good players. But you also have to take into account this is after an 82-game season. So everybody's injured. Everyone's mentally tired. everyone is, probably tired of your teammates and a lot of stuff. And so that has to be factored into it. And the teams with experience that know how to play that 82-game series and still have something left in the tank, and then the ones that are able to keep mentally strong. And I think that probably affects LeBron a lot. And that's why you hear him complaining every year, I need help, because he wants to have something left in the tank once the playoffs come around.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you mentioned that 82 games. I mean, it's a long, grueling season, and then these players kind of have to turn it up again for the playoffs. But inevitably, obviously, for the goal of winning that NBA Final Larry O'Brien trophy. But I mean, I also think it would kind of come down to coaching styles as well. So how much do you think that has changed in terms of coaching and how these coaches are trying to approach their players and trying to motivate them when it comes to playoff time and train them in practices and such? How do you think their styles and kind of leadership has changed over the past decade from when you played?
They've changed exponentially. When I played, you had more coaches that kind of had an aura about them. They were dominant presence, like a Pat Riley, a Phil Jackson, Lenny Wilkins, Jerry Sloan, who I played for. Now, with the exception of really Steve Kerr and Popovich, you have coaches that 80% of them are one really bad season away from losing their job. So they have to be really more cerebral. You can't berate and yell at players anymore, because if Anthony Davis is making $225 million and the coach is making 15 or 20, if there's an issue, they're getting rid of the coach. And so the coaches know that. They know they have to keep these players happy, but you also have to be the leader of the team, and you have to discipline. And so that's where it's tough for them, where you have to have a really strong front office to back you up. And you always see the problems with the Cavaliers, because, I mean, what are you going to tell LeBron? And so you have to kind of pick and choose your battles, but the best coaches are the ones that have that same leadership style for the 15th player on the bench as well as the top player. But that's, it's easier said than done.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, in today's league, especially with these players making such massive contracts, and then the coaches obviously not really getting paid nearly as much as their stars, they're going to let go of the coaches first, like you say. And that kind of leads me to my next question, where Toronto, the Raptors come into this season into the playoffs as the number one seed. Then they get swept by the Cavaliers, who were the lower seed, and then Dwayne Casey loses his job. And he won Coach of the Year, I think either last year or 2 years ago. So, was that because of his leadership style, or is that really just because he couldn't beat LeBron in the playoffs? What went wrong, do you think, for him?
There's a lot of mitigating factors with that. I think Coach Casey's an exceptional coach. He was an assistant coach when I was with the Seattle Supersonics. He actually was the defensive coach. But you have to really look at the players. And really, when a coach gets fired, it's the front office shifting the blame to the coach. And a coach can only coach the players that you're giving him. And, really, you look at Golden State. They built their team off of the draft from 2009. They got Curry, Thompson, Draymond, Barnes. And then they just surrounded him, or that core, with ancillary players. But you look at the Raptors, and all I have to do is look at one post-game interview with DeRozan and Lowry, and you see DeRozan, the best player on the team, and he defers. He's a nice guy, sensitive guy, all-star, but he's not a guy that's going to win you a championship, because you have to have a guy that does not care if he's not liked, doesn't worry if he's hurting other players' feelings on the team. But DeRozan is, making sure everybody is feeling loved, doesn't want to say anything about, shooting 41 times. And you would see Kyle Lowry, trying to goad it out of him. Like, dude, you shot 41 shots, or you scored 41. Like, you're the man. But he didn't really want to take that mantle. And that's, that's part of that culture. And Casey cannot change. He can develop a mentality, but you can't change the mentality. And for me, that is the issue. And also, you look at DeRozan, the most free throws he shot the last 5 games were 4. And your leader has to do whatever it takes. And you look at the great players in the NBA, Jordan, Malone, all the guys, they know that they got to get to the line because you're fouling guys out, you're getting in the bonus, you're doing so many things, and your best player is averaging, 3.8 free throws per game in the playoffs. That's not going to cut it. And he's a great free throw shooter, so there's no excuse at all.
Well, Stephen, thank you so much for your time. Where can our listeners go to get more info or just to connect with you?
On Instagram, at Stephen Howard, Stephen Howard. On Twitter, at Stephen_speaks. You can check me out on my website, StephenHoward.com. But yeah, I'm around out on the dark web. I'm out there.
Well, there you go, guys. Make sure to hit up Stephen Howard on all those socials. Thank you so much again, Stephen. All right, everyone, the Sports Watchdog Radio Show on NBC Sports Radio and 1060 will be right back after this short break.
Hi, my name is Lily. My mom and dad used to fight about money all the time. Then one day, I heard them talking about this guy, some uncle I never knew called Uncle Sam. Well, they say this Uncle Sam guy wanted them to pay him like $1 gazillion, and they didn't have $1 gazillion. So they called this company they heard on the radio called the Tax Doctor. And the Tax Doctor worked with Uncle Sam's people. I think they're called the IRS. And they were able to work it out so my mom and dad didn't have to pay Uncle Sam very much money at all. So now mom and dad are happy, and I'm happy too. Thanks, Tax Doctor.
If you owe $10,000 or more to the IRS or state, call now and pay less.
800-605-4650. 800-605-4650. That's 800-605-4650.
Hey there, welcome back. You're listening to the Sports Watchdog Radio Show on NBC Sports Radio AM 1060. I'm your host, Mason Kern, and joining us now on the line is Corie Blount, a former NBA power forward/center. Corie was drafted with the 25th pick in the first round of the 1993 NBA draft by the Chicago Bulls. He would spend 11 years in the league, spanning across 7 different teams, including our very own Phoenix Suns between 1999 and 2001. Initially drafted for his athleticism, Blount developed a reliable mid-range jump shot over the course of his career, and he retired in 2004 with 2,287 career points and 2,690 career rebounds. He also appeared as himself in the 1996 film Eddie. So Corie is here to share some insights into his professional career and what he's been up to now. Hey, Corie, welcome to the Sports Watchdog Radio Show. So glad you could be here.
No, thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you so much again for coming on. So first off, I understand that you played your collegiate career and really had a lot of success at the University of Cincinnati, leading your team to a Final Four berth in 1992 and an Elite Eight run in 1993. So why were you able to realize so much success in your collegiate career?
Well, I think it's because we had a great group of guys. When I came to the University of Cincinnati, I was a junior college All-American coming from Santa Ana, California, where I had just won 2 championships in junior college, along with myself and a fellow teammate, Eric Martin. And then we also brought along Terry Nelson, who we played in the championship game. So those were 3 guys that was familiar with winning at a high level. And then when I got here, I became teammates with Herb Jones, who was a junior college All-American, and he had just won the national championship down in Kansas. And Nick Van Exel was runner-up in Texas, and they had just won a championship. So we had a good group of guys that was used to winning, had a good philosophy on what it took to win. And as junior college players, we knew we were only going to be there for 2 years, and we had a lot to prove. So I think we showed it when we got on the court that what we were committed to, and then following Hug's rules and his philosophies on what it would take to win, we bought in, and we were able to be successful.
Yeah, and you definitely realized a lot of success, like I said, and then, like you said, in junior college as well, that winning atmosphere, winning mentality coming into college. And then you go and decide, hey, I'm going to put my name in the draft hat in the NBA draft and see what happens. So can you kind of describe draft day a little bit and all the emotions that went with that?
Well, it was very exciting because I was supposed to be picked at the 17th pick of the first round by Boston Celtics. I had a great workout with them, and I was told that they would possibly pick me at that 17th pick, which they didn't. They ended up picking A.C. Earl, but I also had a phenomenal workout with the Chicago Bulls. And Jerry Krause promised me, he said, if you're around when we pick, we're going to definitely draft you. So during the course of the draft, I didn't go to Boston, but I was still happy because I knew I had already had the meeting with Jerry Krause, and he said he was going to make me his 25th pick, and they ended up doing that. And I was just very happy about the opportunity to be a Chicago Bull. I grew up in Los Angeles, so I was always a Laker fan. And my teammate, Nick Van Exel, was a Bulls fan, and we would argue back and forth all the time who was really the best between Michael and Magic. And he ended up getting drafted by the L.A. Lakers, and I ended up getting drafted by the Chicago Bulls. So we watched the draft together that day, and we both went to he went to my favorite team, and I went to his favorite team. So that's the most memorable thing I remember about the draft, that we ended up going to each other's favorite teams.
Yeah, that's funny. I mean, who would have thought that's quite a coincidence for sure. But, I mean, then you go and, like I said, you get drafted by the Bulls and you make it to the NBA. How difficult really was the transition from playing college ball to then being thrust in with all the pros?
Well, for me, it was a little simple because the demand that we had in college, our college practices was sometimes 3 and possibly 5 hours if Huggs didn't really think we was giving him his best efforts. And I ended up getting drafted by the world champ. So going into camp, Phil wasn't really trying to work guys out hard because they had just went through the course of the season and played all 82 games and then ended up winning the championship. So when those guys come to camp after that, they're not doing much. They don't really want to push guys too much. They really want them to be able to get prepared for the next season. So camp was real easy, and I'm thinking, like, man, if this is how the NBA is going to be, I'm going to be all right. Lo and behold, those 82 games came, and I just found out that playing against tougher guys, at that time I was maybe 245, athletic, but just wasn't really ready for the pounding of a power forward. And I think that was the biggest thing for me, was just getting my body right, getting prepared mentally and physically to play at that pro level, at that power forward and center position.
Definitely. I mean, and the level of competition definitely probably increased as well once you started playing those bigger guys as well. And, I mean, you kind of played in a completely different generation of basketball than what is the NBA today. So obviously you also play with a different array of star talent too. So who are kind of your most memorable teammates, or who did you get the opportunity to play with, and what do you remember about your time in the league the most?
Well, for me, I mean, I was blessed to play with the best. I mean, I started off playing with Michael and Scotty, two superstars there. And then when I went to L.A., I ended up playing with Magic when he came out of retirement. I had the opportunity to play with, Vlade Divac, Eldon Campbell, Eddie Jones, and then later on with the Lakers, Kobe and Shaq came. So that was a phenomenal time right there with the Lakers. Went to Phoenix and ended up playing with Jason Kidd, Penny Hardaway, Tom Gugliotta, who else was on that team? Rex Chapman. So has played with some great guys on Jason Kidd. So that was another great team. Then when I left there, I went to Cleveland, had a chance to play with Sean Kemp, who was a superstar.
Definitely.
And, so my course during the NBA, I ended up playing with some really, really phenomenal players along my journey, and it helped me just being prepared to be an NBA player.
Corie, thank you so much once again. All right, everyone, the Sports Watchdog Radio Show on NBC Sports Radio AM 1060 will be right back after this.
Feeling lucky? Then visit @LuxListReviews on Instagram for your chance to win $250 worth of swag from FiercelyFemme.com. Their exclusive collection of dresses, tees, leggings, skirts, hoodies, and vibrant home decor promotes women's rights and female empowerment through wearable art and design. Items are available for both women and men and all feature vibrant, unique, and memorable hand-painted illustrations. Just visit @LuxListReviews on Instagram for easy entry details on this $250 giveaway.
If you're ready for a boast-worthy staycation, the AAA 4-Diamond Hermosa Inn, located in Scottsdale's Paradise Valley, is for you. This luxury hotel offers authentic Arizona character and charm. Its 43 newly renovated casitas are nestled in a garden setting with breathtaking views of the lush desert and Camelback Mountain. Most accommodations include deep soaking tubs, beehive fireplaces, and private patios. Other property features include a lively bar and communal seating areas, on-site painting classes, free-use beach cruisers, seasonal poolside yoga, hot tub facilities, a business suite, and dining to die for. The Hermosa Inn is an ideal locale for small group getaways, from weddings, intimate family vacations, and bachelorette weekends, even golf outings, board meetings, and executive retreats. And its award-winning on-site restaurant, Lawns, is renowned for globally inspired Arizona fare, complemented by a subterranean wine cellar. You can see amazing photos of this and much more at hermosainn.com. That's hermosainn.com.
You ready to hoop it up?
This is Happenings on the Hardwood.
All right, everyone. Welcome back to the Sports Watchdog Radio Show here on KDUS AM 1060 Phoenix. You know what time it is. Happenings on the Hardwood. My favorite segment, and now my favorite time of the year because it's NBA basketball. It's back. It's back with a vengeance. And, Golden State, they got some vengeance in their first couple games here because they lose to Toronto last season in the championship. Kawhi leaves to the Clippers, and then Kawhi already faces Golden State again back on Thursday, and the Clippers just absolutely decimate Golden State. Golden State obviously without Kevin Durant now at this point, who's with the Brooklyn Nets, but they supplement that by getting D'Angelo Russell, and he has a pretty good night overall. Okay, before we jump right in, I gotta preface this by saying a lot has happened since the regular season started, right back on Tuesday. There were 2 games to open up the season, Lakers-Clippers, much anticipated LeBron, Kawhi kind of duel in LA. And then you also have the reigning champions, Toronto Raptors, and Lakers 2.0. That is the New Orleans Pelicans, I should say, now that they have, that whole trade deal with last season, Anthony Davis going to the Lakers, and Lonzo Ball, Brandon Ingram, Josh Hart, a flurry of picks, just so much going back to the Pelicans. So I've been calling them Lakers 2.0. Whether you want to call them that, that's your prerogative. But Raptors Pelicans starts off the night. It goes to overtime. It's on TNT, right? And it actually, because it went into overtime, Lakers-Clippers was supposed to be on TNT right after that. Lakers-Clippers gets bumped to NBA TV. So for those who don't have NBA TV, they were forced to watch the end of the Raptors-Pelicans game, which people weren't thrilled about on Twitter, saying, bump this game to NBA TV and let's put Lakers-Clippers on TNT. But either way, Raptors snake out a win. The Pelicans were kind of, I felt like, leading that entire time and just lose it at the end. The Raptors pull away in overtime, 130-122. Pascal Siakam looks like an NBA All-Star and someone who will be for years to come in this league. It's just, his story is truly incredible, just from the amount of minutes per game he was getting to now one of, probably if not one of the best players on the Raptors and one of the best players in his role in the entire league. And, he had 34. Who else had 34? Fred VanVleet for the Raptors. Truly an incredible performance. Both those guys combined for 68 of the Raptors' 130 points in their 130-122 victory. So Raptors start out the season 1-0. Lakers 2.0, as in the New Orleans Pelicans, drop to 0-1 to start the season on Tuesday. Following that game, obviously, Lakers-Clippers. The battle in LA, it was a Clippers home game. LeBron does the chalk toss, and it's iconic, right? Back to his Cleveland days, then to Miami, now in LA. The chalk toss, it's a signature move pregame, and then he's kind of got the Lakers with their own pregame handshakes. It's a spectacle for sure. Kawhi did Kawhi things. Paul George not playing in this game. Anthony Davis playing in this game, though, but Lakers lose it 102-112, and the Clippers do look really scary this year. They've beaten the Lakers already. They've beaten the Warriors by a good amount. They're going to be a team who when they got Paul George back too, obviously the chemistry is going to have to build, but their bench deep. Kawhi, talented. Paul George, one of the best two-way players in the league. So this is a team, Pat Bev, one of the best defensive point guards in the league. Just really so much talent across the board on that entire roster. And the Lakers are really going to have to iron some kinks out. Obviously, I mean, the big three in Miami when LeBron was there took a while. I think they went 8-11 to start their first season. So there will be some growing pains. But in the process of that first game, Danny Green, the unsung hero, keeping the Lakers in it with 28 points, breaking a Lakers franchise record. Let me repeat this. Lakers franchise record for points in a debut. Danny Green, who would have thought, 28 points in the debut, breaks the record previously held by Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, who scored 27 points in his Lakers debut. Well, now that reign and that crown is owned by none other than Danny Green. So okay, Kawhi gets the best of the former Raptors duo in that first game, but that'll be a series to watch if it gets there in the playoffs. Obviously, the Lakers missing the playoffs last season, but it'll be two teams to watch for sure, especially as they progress through the remaining season, considering we're still only in the beginning stages. But there have been a lot of stuff that's happened in between, you know. I mean, Kyrie Irving in his Brooklyn debut on their home court drops a 50-piece. Let me repeat that, a 50-piece, but they don't win the game. So you kind of take that with a grain of salt. Not the best result. He also misses the game winner. So the thing is, the Timberwolves, the team they were playing against, win that one. Another overtime game, 127-126. There have been a lot of close games. Bulls-Hornets was a 1-point game. I mean, Mavericks-Wizards was only 8 points. But, I mean, early in the season, there's been a couple overtimes. And I mean, you know, it's going to be a lot of, I mean, there's parity, it seems like now in the NBA, instead of like one dominant Warriors super team. Like, sure, there's a lot of talent, but it's dispersed, I feel like, a lot better through the league. But yeah, Kyrie misses the game winner, pulled out a bit of a NBA street ball type action. He hits the deck and then like does a spin move, crossover, frees up some space, but misses the shot. Some other just interesting stuff. The Suns, they get their first win of the season against the Kings in blowout fashion, 124-95. Immediately after that game, the funny thing is, it's almost as if the league can never give the Suns anything nice, because the Suns, there's drug tests that happen on the roster, and DeAndre Ayton gets popped for taking a diuretic, which is a banned substance in the NBA. He gets a positive result for taking a diuretic, which was reportedly meant to increase his water intake to keep, I guess, more hydrated, which also actually makes you pee more. So, however, the diuretic was supposed to, it's a banned substance. So, the NBA Players Association is trying to alleviate the punishment for this type of thing, but preliminary league, I mean, Adam Silver, his preliminary statement, or not even statement, but according to Adrian Wojnarowski, it's going to be a 25-game suspension. So that's nearly a quarter of the season that the Suns now won't have DeAndre Ayton. So that's a big blow for sure. In that Clippers-Warriors game, the aforementioned that I talked about earlier, I mean, Clippers dropped 141 on the Warriors and held them to 122. So it was nearly a 20-point win, 19-point victory. God, man, that's a crazy result right there. I mean, the Clippers are going to be a scary team this season. I'll tell you that much for sure. In the battle of the Western Conference, I mean, the Western Conference is loaded as it is, but the Nuggets, Trailblazers, probably teams that you could probably see anywhere from 6-3 and even higher if the Nuggets really do that well again in the regular season. But Nuggets prevail in that matchup 108-100. Damian Lillard, his heroics weren't good enough in that game. Nikola Jokic just looks like a freak once again. Bucks-Rockets, another interesting matchup with Russell Westbrook teaming up with James Harden, ASU Sun Devil alum James Harden, and league MVP. Not last season, because that is reserved for Giannis Antetokounmpo and his Bucks, who did escape with the win 117-111. And early triple-double watches for Russell Westbrook already with 5 points, 7 rebounds, 6 assists, or some stat line like that. So there was something funny on Twitter that was like, oh, our Rockets fans going to be fed up with this type of stuff already. Well, it's gonna be a wait-and-see type thing, especially if James Harden and Russell Westbrook are beefing on the court like they were against the Bucks in that one, which, I mean, visibly a visibly frustrated argument between the two. But, lots of storylines going around the NBA. Really excited to keep sharing them all with you as the season progresses. You can tell I'm excited. You know how it is. And you're once again, listen to the Sports Watchdog Radio Show. Let me know what games you're looking forward to in this next week, and we'll talk about them next week. Thanks, guys.
Well, that's a wrap, everyone. Anybody wanting to connect with me, the Sports Watchdog, on Twitter can do so at @SportsWatchdog, and on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube as well at The Sports Watchdog. So until next time, keep your eye on the ball.
The Sports Watchdog.
The Sports Watchdog, Ace and Kern.